Right, that's on. Gonna be a long one. Weekly predictions / analysis for most things, although I'm gonna skip some if I think they're a bit boring / irrelevant. But I will be going through everything. Indices, commodities, majors, and some of the crosses which have got news. So I'll start off on Forex Factory quickly. FOMC Wednesday, big one. So naturally later, the latter half of the week, I will be I'm expecting more action. Before then, you got Canadian news on Tuesday, but still probably wouldn't want to trade any crosses, even though they're crosses before this FOMC is a big one. And then later on, we've got some New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar, Japanese and Canadian again, and GBP. With that being said, I'll start on the DXY. Monthly, it looks like we want to grab this swing low now. Weekly, it's not that helpful, to be honest. We're stuck once we swept this low here. We had a nice 2-candle rejection and created this fair value gap, which we have I did originally think we were going to go into this overlapping defense. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. But this is still a 50-50 area, to be honest. Either until you run this low or this mitigating wick, and if you were going to run this, ideally you'd run this. Yeah, the dollar is in a consolidation 50-50 area, whatever you want to call it, and it's not the best for price action. You normally require more confirmation if you think the dollar's going somewhere. On the daily, the most recent I'll just go over last week. Or even before last week, we had the breakers in to create this fair value gap. We then had the SIBI downwards. We don't follow through. NFP was this day. CPI was this day. We then had the BISI. Again, we don't follow through. I was looking for the dollar to come up to here, but again, didn't. So didn't really get to trade. And, now we've got this bit weird looking fair value gap, liquidity void area. I mean, it doesn't look like that we're gonna come back to it, to be perfectly honest, but never know with FOMC. Really, the dollar's just waiting till Wednesday. I can't say much. It's all going to be a reaction to Wednesday. I mean, maybe you'll go lower and you'll grab this before then. But yeah, bit unhelpful in the dollar, but it is a big Wednesday. Regardless, I'll assume from this dollar would like to continue downwards, and that's how I'll look at the indices and stuff. So ES, big rejection on the monthly after another big rejection, so that's quite nice. We have just taken previous month high, and all-time high would be my next target. On the weekly, bit of a weird weekly, honestly. Had this breakaway gap, we've come all the way into it, and we've rejected. Another big 2-candle rejection. I'd be looking to run these highs, and then we can start really aiming for the all-time highs. This is where we seem to have bounced off of this order block within the weekly, like nested dailies, obviously. But this isn't a great run because it's all order flow's not been confirmed because you've not retraced, you've not tested it, you just ran up and up and up and up. Though what is nice, you have managed to run straight through this overlapping defense, which is actually quite sweet, to be honest. So targeting here could be quite nice, as on the daily it's obviously a no resistance zone now. This is obviously a breakaway gap, so you would be looking on the 4 hour. There's no 4 hour fair value gaps, which is a bit of a shame. Last one you stung into was down here, but if you could get one more, it could be quite nice, although unlikely. Could consider this like a sort of second one with the immediate rebalance type formation, but this delivery wasn't particularly nice, just sort of edging upwards. It's not the best delivery to target here, but it's also not the end of the world, as you also have a good one. Once you manage to run here, you've got a nice run upwards to the all-time highs. So fairly nice if the dollar would like to continue downwards. I'll see how it interacts with previous day high here. And is that previous week high? Yeah. Let's see what we do with that. NQ, it's gonna be similar, I won't lie. Coming from a bit of a weaker position, just a bit further down, you've had the same sort of sweep. And yeah, bit less strength there. I think ES was a bit bigger of a breaker. Could we retrace back into here to then continue to grab that? It probably would rest on confirmation. If you get the right confirmation, it's not out of this world to do that. Certainly not. I'll just check ES again. Yeah, ES it's a bit bigger. It's a bit bigger to do it. But so in that sense, maybe I like NQ more. Something today. Let's check the 4 hour. Got this nested fair value area, order block, that could be quite nice if you stung into that. Quite a strong defense there to grab this, but if you measure it just quickly from here, if you were to do something like that, 193 versus 150, so you're a bit closer to here. Russell was the one that I was liking the most, clearly, because I've got the green flag on it. Heavy area retrace. Can you say it was this fair value gap? It's just delivered you upwards. I don't know, but big two candle rejection, like the rest of them. And then on the daily, we're now actually making the third one, so we'll see what it does here. But again, similar like the rest, this overlapping defense is getting ran, and when the overlapping defense gets ran, the last line of defense often becomes a target. Okay, and that's nice, to be honest. That is quite clean. 4 hour fair value gap, overlapping, whatever that was, that previous day high. That's really clean, and we've actually already seen the rejection out. That is nice from Russell, and you're in a no resistance zone. Yeah, and this is intermediate term low confirmed. And this is your intermediate term high, really. But if you wanted a first one to aim at, I think that's the nearest one. Nice from Russell. I gotta check out. You know, I might want to trade this. Man, what time did this come in? 12. That was actually out of context. Just going to come back to, yeah. Very interesting. I'll just check the 15 as well. Boom. That is a nice textbook sort of sharp turn. Smashed through it. Came back to it. And that, I've gone off on a bit of a... tangent there, but I mean that could be nice. What time is this? 4. Well, I wouldn't have been awake. Honestly, still could be nice for like a re-entry if thing is these the 4 out. I'm not sure what these will do. That's the thing. Russell will be dependent on these. Although you are making 1 hours. Could be nice. Honestly, I might come back to Russell and trade that soon. Gold, I didn't know. Yeah, all you need to know on gold. This all-time highs. Don't want to look at that. Crude. Crude was... What the hell? What is this? Hello? Crude has, I can't remember, but anyway, it's swept this monthly low. I think I was probably waiting to get involved after the sweep of the monthly low. I think that's what I'm going to say. Yes, and created this fair value gap. It would probably be, if you wanted to trade it, it would be trading up to that fair value gap. Or is this just a stupid idea? You see, weekly, fair value gap, not traded into. And daily, busy, also not traded into. I don't see why you would trade this, just because it's weird. But if you did want to, I guess the idea would be a trade into the busy, and then you trade towards the weekly SIBI. But I really don't see the need if you've got all the other pairs and stuff. Because you've still got a decent sort of rejection. It's a consolidation candle, but it's a big one. You've got big wicks on both sides. Yeah, not too sure with crude, to be honest. Maybe something could be nice if you got proper confirmation to like do an unusual context trade, but not seeing the need for it personally. Silver, okay, massive expansion. This is quite a messy graph, but I'm not going to remove anything now. Okay, interesting. Weekly, clearly here's the target. Can we run this? And you've got no resistance on the weekly. Can we run this is the question. We've ran that. Daily, you're into a no resistance area, but you are on the daily third candle. 4 hour, which you're not coming back to, and you've already seemed to reject it off this 4 hour. Okay, nice. So it is in no resistance. That looks quite nice for silver, but shame there is no... Yeah, there's no red folder news today. But again, similar to Russell... it could have, well, Russell's a bit different because it's an indice, so volatility could be there. It is looking clean though, especially if you could create like an hourly, but could be nice for longs, but I personally prefer Russell. And yeah, I'll just leave that for now because I've got a lot of stuff to get through. So on to the majors. I think these two are looking the best, particularly GU, although I'll state why EU, I will state why GU is better. Looking like monthly wants to grab these highs, but a bit far for target. So the weeklies really the defining factor. You had a sweep here. You had a big breakaway gap, which once we swept, I expected to trade back into, especially with this big 2-candle rejection, which we did. Now, I didn't necessarily expect the great rejection off of that breaker, but you got it. And so now we're looking for higher prices, and with the potential of the lower dollar, as I said, I'd go for the assumption of the lower dollar. Man, it's already climbing. Had this fair value gap, which I would have expected to trade back into, but we haven't. We've just started to fly. This is a no resistance zone. And maybe you might create a new 4-hour fair value gap here, which could be nice. Target up here with no resistance. And on the weekly, the target would be up here, really, but no need to worry about that yet. Nice looking daily, but the difference on the weeklies is fairly significant, right? And GU has also not, it's not coming off like an immediate sweep of the month. So we've got a nice, the targets line up a bit nicer, I'd say. And here is, here's the difference. EU had the big breaker, which isn't great to trade off of. GU had an overlapping fair value gap with this fair value area. It also has this nested fair value area, and it's stung into both. And if you're not aware, that's the best possible thing. Overlapping gap plus nested fair value area is very strong. So to target this is nice, and the rejection candles are just very, very good, to be honest with you. Again, we would have expected to sting back into that, but hey-ho, we didn't. It's really tempting to trade. It's really tempting to trade even without news. How long have we got on this? 9. You've still got a long time, to be honest. To see what this 4-hour will do. Your orange folder news, huh? Anyway, the slight concern for this is that you could get to here before FOMC. In that case, I think EU would be better. There's more distance to go. Although, you've got that, which can add a bit more. And you have this fair value gap and that fair value area. If you just want to start counting up resistance that you might want to trade to, but anyway, no point speculating, see what happens. But GU looking the best for that reason of the fair value gap overlapping and the nested. I didn't mark out any of the rest of the majors, so I think they are probably a bit worse. I can go over them a bit quickly. Monthly, AU, okay. This rejection candle purely, so okay, aim for that, cool. Okay, a bit of mess on here, but I shall try and decipher what I've got. Yeah, interesting. This bit of a messy delivery out of here, but starting to get something. That's weekly. It's not horrendous. It's really not. Fair value gap, again, we've started to go. Geez, you've got a lot of lines here. Let me just take that off. Again, just take that off. There was a nice trade here around that immediate rebalance last week. It could be nice. Daily, no resistance zone. Up to the top. You got the daily fair value gap. I probably want to see another one to confirm that we want to go back up to there. Yeah, overall not as nice as GU, but it could be decent. Four-hour, already got the order flow confirmed on the 4 hour, and so the high that you'd be looking for this would be this one. That's the market structure adding up, because 1, 2 stings, and you might get a third one here, and it's also no resistance, so that looks quite nice actually on the lower time frames. But Australian dollar news is Wednesday night after the FOMC as well, so it could be very volatile. But it's a possibility to trade if EU or GU didn't quite work out. New Zealand dollar, I'm thinking is pretty similar, possibly a bit better, because you've just come into this fair value gap. Yeah, you haven't gone through more, and you hit this overlapping defense. And like nested overlapping defense. Okay, cool. Not got a great reaction yet though, actually. No fair value gaps out of it, so probably not interesting me until I'd see some dailies. I won't go over the rest of these because they suck compared towards EU and GU, quite frankly. Crosses, I won't go through all of them, I'll go through some. So we've got Canadian dollar news tomorrow, so I don't know whether you trade the crosses before a big 3 news event. Personally, probably not going to. But yeah, so we'll be looking at Canadian dollar, JPY, AU, and NZD. Australian dollar, CAD, I've actually got a green flag, so could be, yeah, all right. Right, big rejection candle, and so another big rejection candle, so following through. So this would be your target on the monthly based off the candle science. Weekly, no recent order flow just yet, but we came into this breaker. Again, not the best because you don't really want to trade off breakers, but we're starting to, got the 2 CR, 2 candle rejection here, starting to reject. And yeah, that's still your weekly target. Not great here. Consolidation. Fair value gaps failing. Fair value gap failing. And Oh god, someone's calling me. Right, they've stopped. Thank you. Go away. Yeah, had this fair value gap for this high. I'd like to see another one, probably, just because of the price actions not being, the greatest. If you can make a 4-hour overlapping this fair value area, previous day high, that could be nice to, again, if you got the profit confirmation. On like pairs that consolidate, it's all about confirmation when okay, it's time, we can actually start trusting it. So I'll say that a lot, proper confirmation. And really, proper confirmation is the difference between the absolute ideal and the reality of what's happened on the graph. That will determine how much confirmation you'll need. So obviously that consolidation isn't ideal. That's why we want more confirmation. So have to see what happens there. EuroCAD, okay, massive monthly candle, good, we're going upwards. Weekly, here's the first swing high. Okay, so this is a bit of an unusual context sort of trade, as we had this weekly fair value gap, although it's not a strong one because this third candle is a massive rejection candle. Already off that candle, I'd expect this to be traded through. It's no resistance, quite nice. And had nice, we were trending quite nicely upwards before. The daily, everything's done this. It's just not come back to the fair value gaps. It's just gone straight through. But anyway, daily, why is this nice? Well, that's obviously the weekly fair value gap. You're trading through that. You also have this daily overlapping nested sort of defense. We're also trading through that, which is a nice show of strength. Had this fair value gap as the overlapping defense and this flawed as the first line of defense. It looks like we're not even going to trade back into it. We're already running previous day high. It's no resistance up to here. Although I have said not great requires big comp. I think that was because I do know why I've said that, even though that was just yesterday. It's because of this candle, right? So you had the massive up, but and small rejection. So on the weekly, that's quite nice. But it's like, what if this is going to fail? Why would you already come back down here? Why it should have opened here and gone straight through. So you have to question that retrace. Why did that retrace happen? And then on the daily, to make it worse, if you just take this isolated candle which came into here, that was a rejection candle. But it looks like this fair value gap's won, and it looks like this has failed. So if you go into the 4 hour now, I'll get rid of that. This is kind of like, so we got a brilliant smash through here. That is the sort of nice confirmation you want. Looking for a 4 hour, if you could get a 4 hour overlapping this, again, that is looking nice to target these highs. Hence why it's on my long list. Euro Canadian dot, it's actually pretty sweet with that, smashing through that weekly like that and showing that we're not rejecting off the weekly, we are going through it. Just a bit of a shame that you'd probably prefer to trade the majors with the US dollar news over CAD on Friday, but that's just me personally. Won't go over the rest of these apart from these two. It's getting long now. And I know that obviously these were the ones that I sort of liked the most out of all of them. He says, I think I just marked them just for the sake of having like two shorts. Obviously, you had a big rejection. Rejection's failing because you would have wanted to see follow through. So basically the inverted of this candle, massive expansion candle upwards. So Candle Science says we're going for that on the monthly. On the weekly, you have stung into this and you're continuing downwards. Okay, quite nice. You've made a breaker here. So unlikely to come back to this breaker to then continue. So drop a time frame and look for your usual context within the breaker area. And here you go. We've stung into this. And we're possibly creating another one here, which is... you'd ideally want to be creating breakers at this point, but it's not a problem personally. If you create a fair value gap here and then you get profit confirmation that we're still going to continue lower on EJ, that would you'd confirm the intermediate term high then as well, as we didn't quite sting back into this one. We've only stung back into this one. So that could be nice for a short, but we'll have to see what happens in the days. What days? Okay. JPY news is Thursday, so again, not too bad. So that honestly could be an option. That could be an option. And then GJ, I don't remember which one was looking the best, but you'd expect... EJ to look a bit better just because it's a bit weaker. The euro's been a bit weaker on GBP versus the US dollar, but I don't know, we'll see because I forget. Yep, same thing. Clearly looking to grab that. Weekly, same thing. Boom, breakaway gap. Wouldn't expect to come back to here to continue downwards. So context on the lower time frame you defer to. Okay, and so yeah, similar. Made this very small fair value gap. Stung into it and order block. I don't like how we didn't take this low, and probably on the other one, is that the same? Yeah, I don't like. EU is actually a bit better for that. Actually, still a bit further away, just because it's now you're going to have to. Well, you were down here, and you could have made a breaker, and you've come all the way back here. And then you're going to sting into here to, again, then grab down there. So I'd probably like, as I've said, proper confirmation that we're going to continue. So maybe a 4-hour fair value gap or 1 hour ST plus RE. And yeah, that's that for the weekly forecast. Just to go back and see it. Indices are looking decent, to be honest. Russell was my favourite. I think out of these, I don't really have a preference. So just see what happens. GU, favourite for now on the majors. Crosses. What is my preference out of EJ or GJ? It's probably... EJ. And yeah, that's what I said. That is what I expected, just because the euro has been a bit weaker. Although, yeah, actually, I forgot about Euro CAD and Australian dollar, but less relevant, just because I think the majors are gonna take my attention, really. But yeah, we'll see. That's it. That is the forecast. Long one, but some decent analysis. Did go through quite quick because I basically did the analysis yesterday as well. So, yeah.